this especially spooky episode of the ZymCast. Kyle was looking at me with begrudging eyes. Now questioning the use of the word begrudging.
Nailed it.
Hello and happy Halloween.
Okay, yeah.
Ish.
Cheyenne gets really excited for Halloween.
Yeah,
It's the best holiday. I don't
It's
care
a good
what
one.
anyone says.
sure.
Halloween is the best holiday.
Yep. Past
mean-
me totally agrees. And like 13-year-old me, no, not even. God, when was the last time I cared about going trick-or-treating? Like I was 9, I think.
Probably
And-
22.
no, I think I was like 9 or 10. And even then I'm like, I don't want to go trick-or-treating tonight, Mom. And they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Kyle? I'm like, I just don't feel it.
Wow, okay. It's never been about the trick or treating, but I get it.
I was young. I was dumb. Just how it goes.
And broke?
I mean, I was a small
Young,
child.
dumb, young.
That's
young.
not the saying. And also not true. But, you know, it's, Halloween's fine.
Okay, sure.
Nah. It's okay.
Okay, I'm like, whose side are you on with that? Nah. Either way, though, it's still a fun season full of all the spooky spookums.
Is it season 2 or 3?
It's actually season 12.
I can't do math.
It's 12.
Okay.
12 seasons.
Of the witch?
Must be the season of the witch.
Now, does that mean it's the 12th season,
Mhm.
as in it's been going on for 12 years,
Mm-mm.
or it's just 12 consecutive seasons? So
Exactly.
I can't do math.
3.
4? It's the third out of fourth.
7.
Oh god, 369. Damn, she fine. No? Okay.
12 divided by 4 is 3. 3 years.
Oh, that's where you're going. Okay, yeah. What was 3 years ago? 2016.
Me meeting you.
Yeah. I mean, before this season, actually, in the last season, so it would have been 13 seasons ago.
13
Okay.
reasons why.
Okay, you guys are ruining my Halloween episode. Stop. I don't know what this crap is, but I'm putting an end to it.
It's probably for the best. We're rambling people.
Yeah.
So, what
Lord,
are we
I was
doing
born a
today?
rambling
We're
man.
talking about Halloween and scary things.
I do enjoy scary things.
And horror?
And first of all, did you know that
No.
Oh, she's got facts.
Oh, shit. She came prepared.
I did? Did you know that Samhainophobia is the fear of Halloween?
I did.
That's amazing.
I would have guessed that because Samhain is the holiday in which Halloween is based upon.
Mm-hmm. It's cool.
Because the Celts are cool.
Okay, Chase.
I mean, you drop a fact, he tries to
What
connect
if-
with this fact, and it just doesn't. You just don't like it.
I'm
Just-
harping
just-
on my Irish heritage.
Just your Irish heritage.
He's all Irish
Uh-huh.
heritage.
Apparently, I have no heritage. When I say Mexican heritage, she gets upset. When I say Irish heritage, she
You're
gets
fucking
upset.
American, and that's all
That's
you can
my
be.
American's heritage.
That's all you can be.
You're American. You're very whitewashed American.
Oh, she thinks you're
Americanized?
fine, though.
Yeah,
I mean, we are dating.
I'd hope so.
I'd hope for a reason.
Yeah. Alrighty. So we're talking about spooky stuff.
Spooky stuff.
I do like spooky stuff. So does Chase. It's his favorite stuff in the
Oh,
world.
God. I mean, okay, I can appreciate good spookums. I can appreciate. I don't know if I would
No,
say
can't.
spookums. Actually, I'd probably say just suspense. Because spookums and scarums are too scarum for me. I couldn't make it rhyme. I'm sorry. I failed you. But
You
I mean,
could have made that rhyme even. I thought that's what you were building to.
no.
I thought so too.
Oh shit. No, I appreciate a good tale.
What if it's a tale as old as time?
Song as old as
Nope. Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and
Classic horror story about a poor young girl
With the-
kidnapped by a monster.
with
You know
Stockholm
what?
syndrome.
Yeah, that's a lot of the Disney movies could be seen as horror stories if you
Well,
look
I mean,
back
because
at
they were
the
mostly
original.
based on horror stories. yes.
Yeah, that's why I love Grimm stories so much
Yeah.
because they're fairy tales.
So let's start talking about things that scared us or still do scare us.
God, we literally had this conversation for my mom's birthday
Yeah,
a few weeks ago. We were out to dinner with my family,
So
Cheyenne
you have
and
a
I
head
were,
start.
and we
Yeah.
were just. I don't know how this came up. Oh, because I was mentioning your story that we have published,
Yeah.
and
I mean, Yeah.
yeah, I would say published is an apt word. And we're talking about horror stuff. So kind of went back and like was scared as a child, or why you're scared of certain things, and also the fact that my grandmother.
Jeez.
No, there was a
dang.
sentiment that was
Oh,
upsetting. The fact that she wanted to go to like fuck, what are they called?
Haunted house.
No, an escape room.
No. Like Dark Harbor, the Queen Mary, or
Yeah.
like horror experiences at amusement parks, or those things like I'm very much against that.
Oh, why?
I wonder. And she was giving me crap about it.
Oh man, you're being shamed by your grandma
Yeah,
for being a scaredy
she's like,
cat.
oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
And she's like, why are you scared? It's not real. And I'm like,
That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Your grandmother was just...
It wasn't
I was
so
emasculated
much
by my grandmother.
It wasn't so much for him being a scaredy cat. It was more of, Chase, participate in family things. I want to see you.
Anything else?
You just gotta do one of those horror experiences where they like kidnap you and
like
drag you,
like Game
tase
Night.
you. Yeah.
The quintessential 2017 movie Game Night.
Was that 2018? Was that last year?
No.
That was 2018.
No.
Pretty confident that was last year.
No.
We just can't stay on topic.
This is our topic. Our topic is movie.
2918.
Uh-huh.
2018.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2018. It was last year.
Shut up.
Shut up.
And
Just
take
shut up.
your
Shut up.
correct.
Good talk.
Okay.
So
Finish your story, Chase.
Oh, the fact that
emasculated by an old lady.
Yep.
Yeah,
Your sweet old grandmother.
because she didn't understand how it could be scary, which confuses me. I guess she takes it for like theatrical performance
Yeah,
more so than anything.
because it is.
That's what it is.
But I mean,
Keep going.
I think my what's the word?
You've been having issues with words today.
Yeah.
My diction is very.
Do you need me to help? I know this story. I was there.
Please tell it.
So he ended up talking about the story he is currently writing.
Oh well,
That is still writing.
Yeah.
And then he realized that what he's writing about is something he fears himself.
Mhm.
And he realized that that fear stems from a decoration his grandmother gave his mother, and they had on display every October for a couple of years when he was a child.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Would you like to say what it is, Chase?
Yeah. So
It's a spooky, scary.
there's also
skeleton.
I'm actually still obviously it still scares me.
Yes.
I cannot go on a certain ride at Disneyland.
I will say the ride. He can't go on the Snow White adventure ride.
Yeah. See if you can guess why.
I
want
have
to know if you
no
can guess why.
fucking idea.
Okay.
So I don't know what. So that was
Because I have not been on that ride since I think I was 5.
Think of the fucking Snow White story, man. What in
Old
Snow White?
ladies.
yeah,
Yeah.
old hags specifically.
Yeah. And it's the evil queen in her hag form. That was the decoration that my grandmother gave my mother when I was a child, and it hung outside my window on the front porch for a few years, and it was like life size. It was fucking terrifying, and my brother backed me up on this. He was also terrified of this.
Yeah, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, we both had the exact same thing.
Yeah, he all of a sudden perked up and joined the conversation and was like, "What? Yeah, that freaked me out too." I totally did not think he was paying attention.
Yeah, well, okay, so that hag, not only the image of a hag, I think it was a dream that I then had after having that decoration of the evil queen staring at me from my bedroom window at night, and it scares the shit out of me. We went on that Snow White ride maybe like last year at this point.
Yeah. Almost.
And I was like, oh, okay, sure. And then it started getting to like scenes where she was in it, like, nope.
Yeah. He could not handle this child's ride.
Yeah, shut up.
She's very
scary.
cartoony too.
I think that might be attributing to why.
That makes
Contributing?
it worse.
Maybe.
Oh,
I don't really know.
okay.
But
The brain is a weird thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's something about old ladies and their shriveled faces and long noses and beady eyes.
No wonder your grandmother could do such a number on you. I've never met Chase's grandmother. I'm sure she is a wonderful, nice, and beautiful lady.
She is like one of the sweetest people you will ever meet.
And you're such a baby that
And
even
she might be listening. Hi, Nana. But yeah.
It was all a joke. I've never met you. I'm sorry for insulting you to make a point.
Yeah, and we started just talking about like what scared us like when we were younger, and that was definitely one of the things.
Yeah. Another person brought up dolls.
Yeah,
And
my
how
mom.
Yeah, I think a TV show is what started that.
Yeah,
I don't know what show they said anymore,
Probably some
but I
show from the
know
80s.
definitely one episode from Twilight Zone freaked me out because I had a doll. So I don't remember the name of the episode anymore, but it was the one where there's a little girl who has this doll, and the doll always says, "You better be nice to me," or something to that effect.
that's already.
And
Nuh-uh.
yeah, and the father knows that there's something wrong with this doll.
Then why
But
does he have it?
Hold on. But the child and the mother, like, they're like, it's a doll. And so the father keeps trying to get rid of this doll.
Fucking burn
And it just keeps coming back.
It's
And then he
Chucky.
tries to destroy this doll. And
Annabelle.
it comes back with a messed up face and says, "You better be nice to me." But what freaked me out about this doll is that growing up, I had a grandmother who loved to give me dolls. And she gave me a doll that looked just like this doll. And it talked, but its voice box was kind of messed up. So in a
it's even
weird,
weird. That's
yeah, in
scarier.
a weird like robotic voice, it would say something. I don't
Play
remember
with
anymore.
me.
Yeah, I think it was something like "play with me, hug me" or something like that.
I love you.
Oh, that sounds
Probably.
weird.
Probably, but I still have this doll.
What?
Yeah, it's in my attic.
Burn it. It's in the attic.
No.
Don't leave it in the attic.
You better be nice to me.
So growing up, I've gotten a lot of dolls that are typically like the creepy ones in movies or shows.
And they're all in your attic.
Yeah, they're all in my attic now. They
Oh,
used to
there's
be
a fucking.
Okay,
it's a
hey,
cult.
I know my
It's
next scary story.
they all used to be in my room. I used to sleep with them and
Oh.
scattered around my room,
Oh.
and a few of them had their own special like cases because they were porcelain dolls.
That makes me uneasy.
And
Yeah.
yeah, see, when I was younger, I never thought that that was a problem. Even after there was another Twilight Zone episode, I think, where the Barbies like follow a guy who walks down an aisle or something. I'm not sure if it's Twilight Zone or Outer Limits, but I have this very definite memory of a guy walking down an toy store aisle, and the Barbie dolls just kind of follow him.
Toy Story 2.
Maybe.
No.
I don't think so. It was in black and white. Anyway,
Toy Story 1.
My
It's so
friends-
old.
my friends would be freaked out to go into my room because I had
I don't blame them.
Yeah.
because I had dolls all over the place, and I was like, they're fine.
Yeah.
They're my friends.
Yeah. Well,
And then you didn't have any more friends because of them.
But I remember talking to them, and I don't remember if it's because I was playing with them or if I really thought that they were alive. My house is kind of creepy, and this is when I lived. I stayed in the room that I swore I used to hear footsteps outside of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had creepy dolls, and I still have them all in the attic in one box. I don't know if that's a
no.
problem.
Burn the box.
But I am not burning them. They are from my grandmother, my dead grandmother.
Mm.
I'm not gonna get rid
Her
of them.
spirit is now
Ooh.
dwelling within the doll.
Oh, it's even worse.
Maybe. Also, the Raggedy Ann doll
Yes.
that is the inspiration for Annabelle.
Yeah.
I have that exact doll, also in the attic with the rest of them.
No
Nothing
thanks.
creepy ever happened with my
No
doll.
Thanks.
I used to sleep with that thing.
No, thanks. You're keeping that in a storage unit. That is not. I'm not living with that. But yeah, well, my nana similarly. I know, like when I used to sleep over that her house, we'd sleep in the back room, which would have she said a singular doll, that would sit on the I don't know. I remember there being multiple, but yeah, there was one doll sitting on a rack. I don't even know how to describe it. But it would just like watch you during the night. I had to cover it up. And whenever my mom stayed over too, she would cover it up because she was afraid of it.
But you might anger it.
Oh God, you're not making it any better.
Sorry, I only had one weird doll, so That-
Sounded like you had a bunch of weird dolls.
Okay, to
Yeah,
me,
it does sound that way.
to me, there's only one doll that was freaky.
Cool. So for me, we're talking childhood trauma.
Hmm.
It would have to be. I don't have any.
What?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like people are just like, so many of your fears like trace back to like terrible things that happened in your childhood.
What
or
are you
scared
afraid
or
of
whatever.
now?
Like spiders.
Nothing.
You're one of those
Oh!
people where you were freaking brave as a child and then
Yeah.
you became scared as an adult.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you've
Yeah, I
Right?
have.
I think, yeah.
I have mentioned that. Like again, like I watched. I'm confident. I either watch it in theaters or my parents would watch it at home. But like Jurassic Park, it's not a super scary movie. The fact is, like I was like 4 or 5.
That would be a very scary movie for a 4 or 5.
And like I watched it multiple times. My mom has told me like she would look over and she's like, "Kyle, you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's just a movie, Mom. Calm the fuck down." Obviously, not with that language, but
with that exact
just
diction.
boom, just smacked across the face. Shut up, Kyle. Not that kind of language here. There's fucking dinosaurs. Ah! But I don't have issues with my mom. No, I love my mother. But the fact is,
Oh. You're digging yourself into a hole, Kyle.
What?
But-
I didn't think so.
but yeah, no,
It was
I've
an Oedipus
definitely.
joke. Sorry.
Yeah, it was an Oedipus joke.
I understood. I did. Okay.
Regardless, I didn't really have stuff that terrified me a lot when I was a kid. At least nothing I can think of, because like, I don't know. I mean, the only thing you guys telling your stories, the only thing that made me think of anything from my childhood was like Cheyenne was talking about how she used to talk to her dolls and stuff. She wasn't sure if it was like actually thinking they were whatever or just being a kid expressing yourself. I had a teddy bear named Bear because I was super creative.
I had one of those.
That I always took him around wherever I went when I was at the house and stuff, and I would talk to him all the time like he was a person. But even now I think I'm confident. I never thought he was real. It's just how I express myself.
Huh.
But that's all I had, and I had him for the longest time. And when I was little, whenever I liked picking at things, so I like picked off all the hair on his belly,
Aw.
and then we had a dog that ate him to pieces.
Aw. That's sad.
It was sad. He was my toy when I was a kid.
Oh.
But yeah, nothing. I mean, the most tragic thing is that he died, basically. But
Now he's afraid of bears dying.
I love bears. I go and hug them in the woods, and then they murder me every time. I don't know.
Keeps waking up in the loop.
Yeah, I don't really know. I can't get out of this loop. These bears keep killing me when I hug them. It's like, Kyle, maybe stop hugging bears. Hi. But yeah, I don't really think I have anything like as a kid that just like really traumatized me. I'm scared of like fucking spooky bugs or whatever because they look scary. But like the things in horror movies that get to me are just like jump scares. I don't like jump scares.
Yeah.
I'm fine with dealing with like dread and horrific things. Oh, and I don't like over the top gore.
Yeah. I don't
Like
that either.
torture-y gore.
Jigsaw.
Yeah, or like Hostel.
Oh, god damn.
I see. I always think like when I talk about just things that's just too far. First of all, things with eyes, things with fingernails, things with heels.
Oh.
Why? I never even thought of heels. Now,
Because of Hostel. There's a scene in Hostel where a guy gets his Achilles tendons severed, and then he tries to take a step, and like his leg goes, and his foot stays. Oh man, no!
Jesus
And that was when
Christ.
that came up. I'm like, oh, no.
That's when it all came up.
Yeah,
Out of
it's
your
like,
stomach.
oh.
I think I've only seen Hostel 3 in that. Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of like torture porn, even though I do enjoy some of the Saw movies. I don't enjoy them for that.
I thought you were going to say something else.
No.
Well,
And then
yeah.
I'm not a huge. I hate jump scares. I just don't like them. They're both equal parts really not fun to experience
Yeah.
and bad horror movie like making. Like, because the problem. Okay, quick little thing here. Horror works when tension can build and build and build and build and build. You know what kills tension?
Jump scares.
Jump scares. She's like, okay.
Release of tension.
Yeah, it's a complete release of tension. It's antithetical to what you're trying to do.
Mhm.
Like, you can watch a movie that really doesn't have very many scares, but it just builds and builds. Even if it doesn't have this huge burst of like a scare, it doesn't matter because it unsettles you. That's the shit you remember. You don't remember like jump scare number 46. Though, to be fair, there is a jump scare in The Haunting of Hill House that still haunts me to this day.
Yeah.
It's like the worst jump scare ever in terms of like it was actually executed extremely well. I did not see it coming in any way, shape, or form. And so it wasn't in a scene of tension, which is why I think it got me so much. It's just a scene of two characters arguing very loud in a car. And then all of a sudden, a jump scare. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was watching it on my phone because I watched this whole show at night because I'm an idiot. But I was
That's the
watching it on my
best
phone in
time.
bed, and I dropped the phone on my face when it happened because I got scared.
Oh.
I'm like, ah!
What would you say? Okay, no, I'll start.
Okay.
Okay.
My top horror movie,
Okay.
as in the scariest movie that has probably led to some deep-seated trauma. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. No. Well, the setup was
can get why that would
joking, but
be
I'm actually serious.
your-
Not about it being a horror movie, but it's actually, it has deep-seated trauma for me, apparently.
Yeah,
I
The
guess.
spider?
The fucking spiders. Oh, God. Okay, so as far, like, from what I remember, the first time I saw Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, I was more or less fine with the spiders, but I'm pretty sure that that's where my fear of spiders stemmed from, because before that was, I guess, fine. After that, not so much fine. And yeah, I would say like my two biggest fears, one of which being spiders, is like, is it rational? Yes, because they're going to kill me. Yeah, both of them.
Yep.
My second biggest fear, or actually no, maybe my first above spiders, is the ocean. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
No, it's okay. So Chase just Wikipedia jump scares,
Mhm.
and yeah, I was trying to. There's a thing. It's like a jump scare from The Exorcist 3 is considered like one of the most famous jump scares in history.
Oh,
It's such a
really?
great scene.
I don't think I've seen The Exorcist 3.
The Exorcist 3 is actually a really good movie.
Okay. I
Like
should
it's
watch
like
that.
it's weirdly way better than it should be.
Huh.
It's not. I wouldn't really call it much of a horror movie. Like it's very different than the first one. It's more of like a horror themed investigational movie that has like horror
Oh.
elements towards the end of it.
Okay.
But like it's actually really good. It's like a really good thriller.
Interesting.
But there is like this great scene that they talk about here where like a nurse in a hospital is like locking up this door and she goes, and then like right behind her out the door, like fucking this dude with some scissors going to kill her is like right behind her, comes out of fucking nowhere. He's like, what the shit? But it's like it's not like accompanied by like and like it's like really close in. It's like off in the distance, and so it's like it's more unsettling.
Yeah.
It's like weirdly more unsettling because it's like it just happens.
Right.
It's like fuck. I just so like whenever I think of like the difference between a movie that would have a jump scare and a movie that doesn't. Anytime a movie can just have something happening in the background that it doesn't call attention to until you notice it, or until it's ready for you to notice it, and then you realize it was in the frame the whole time and you didn't even fucking notice.
Yeah.
That's the best shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the best shit. But even just when something cuts to something scary, but it doesn't feel like it needs to make like this big, loud, dramatic noise or whatever, that's the worst part of a jump scare. Because without the noise is basically to scare you.
Mhm. The
It's to
fucking
force-
strings. It's those strings.
Yep,
man.
it's to force you. But right there, the Babadook has an awesome scene where in any other movie, this would have been a jump scare. In this movie, it's just a really fucking unsettling moment where like you have the mom who's like in her kitchen and she can look across the way to like her neighbor's house and see into like her like I think like living room where she's watching TV. It's like an older lady who's a neighbor if I remember right. But like you look up and you just see the lady like watching TV and you look down, she's cleaning, she looks up, and just standing behind the woman is the Babadook. And it doesn't make like this big loud noise or anything. It's just there. And you're just like, fuck. But like it doesn't do anything like hugely dramatic with that. It's just like, he's just there. You're just like, fuck me.
Oh god.
Exactly. Isn't that way scary though? And it just cuts in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also The Descent has a really good jump scare. You ever seen The Descent?
I have.
The
I don't
Descent is a
remember it.
really good horror movie. Because honestly, it's really scary long before the monsters even show up at all. Because like it transitions from real legitimate things to be scared of to, and now there are fucking monsters. But like you got claustrophobia. Who don't watch that movie?
Mm-hmm. So I watched that with my dad in theaters, but we didn't finish it
Oh.
because my dad, he doesn't have like true claustrophobia, but he can't do tight spaces, and so we
Yeah.
were out. He was
Yeah,
like,
there's
nope.
that moment where
You
like
went to
the
see that when
main-
you were 10 years old?
Yep.
I guess you probably were 9 actually.
I don't
still-
know. I very clearly remember this because my dad loves horror movies. I started watching horror movies
Young.
really young.
Uh-huh.
But no, that movie is great. I don't know if you know much about it.
No.
It's about like this group of women who basically are ghost spelunking, cave exploring.
I know it's spelunking.
Okay, I don't know. You look confused.
I am confused just about based on the premise, but okay, yeah.
They're like an adventurous group of like friends that like would meet up like once a year to go on like these adventures and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And one of the women, I think Juno was her name. She basically was like more like adventurous and stuff, and everybody's like, it won't be that crazy. We're just going into like these marked caves and stuff. And so like she secretly takes them to like an unmarked cave system. And so they all go exploring and stuff, and then shit goes wrong. They start like falling deeper and deeper into the cave. They can't get out. One of the women like breaks her arm. They're like the main character chick, she's like stuck in this crevice and stuff, and like they have to be like slowly talked out. Oh, also like right at the beginning of the movie, fucking horrific. Like this woman's husband and child are like killed in a car accident, so she's just like haunted by all this fucking shit. But yeah, they keep going deeper into this cave, and it's just so unsettling. You're just like, how the fuck are they getting out? They're lost. There's nothing they can do. She's hurt as hell. Like, this is all fucking awful. And they have like this camera with night vision.
Oh god.
And it's panning around the group as they're all talking. They're all freaking out. And then just right behind one of the women, you just see like this albino, like tall, like almost like bat-ish looking humanoid creature, just like like looking down at it and smelling her. And that's when shit goes nuts. The movie's awesome though, because like the women are badass. Like some of the women are just total badasses and fight back. They have like the freaking like climbing picks.
Okay.
And they're just like fucking murdering these things. Oh, it's awesome. But they're just being picked off one by one, and it's good. It's a good movie. And the sequel is terrible.
Is it? Never saw the sequel.
Don't watch it.
The sequels to horror movies don't tend to be good. They're usually trash.
Yeah. But yeah, that movie just freaked the shit out of me, just strictly based on like even just the setting. Like I'm not super claustrophobic either, but like it was just so scary. It's just so dark, so hopeless, and it feels like every scene they keep falling deeper and deeper and deeper. Like they just can't get up, they can't get out, and you just feel like everything is more and more and more hopeless. And its ending is okay. Its actual ending is fucking perfect. The theatrical ending is dumb.
There's a theatrical ending?
Yeah, so there was a real ending for the movie. And then, like, test audiences were like, I don't like it. It's too depressing.
Do they all die?
Kind of. But, okay, so, like, spoilers for this movie. So, like, the thing is, Juno, it comes out that Juno was sleeping with, like, the main lady's husband.
Uh-huh.
And so that's unveiled throughout the course of this. And so after they like fight, the only two left are like the main chick whose name I just can't remember, and Juno, who was like her best friend. They fight off like all of these creatures, and then the main lady, she turns and just fucking drives her pick right through Juno's leg, leaving her to basically like be bait for all the creatures and stuff. So they'd go after Juno so she can escape. And then she runs off, and like the last shot you see of Juno is like all these creatures descending on her and stuff, and she just has the pick like fucked. And so the main lady, she like falls down this like off this like thing. She falls into this area, like hits her head, but like she looks up, she notices like light, and so she crawls like through like these bones and these rocks and shit to like get out to this entrance, and she like emerges outside. She like makes it out, and she escapes. She gets to her car. She's driving away. And like she eventually like just finds a spot. She pulls off the side of the road. She just collapses. She's like freaking out and stuff. And it's focused on her. And she like leans back. She pans, and there's like a fucking like freaky ass looking zombie ass thing of Juno sitting next to her. And she turns. She sees her and she screams.
What?
And then it cuts back to her in the cave when she had hit her head when she fell. She wakes back up. And she's all like discombobulated and fucked up and lost her damn mind. And she essentially imagines her daughter there with like a birthday cake. It's like, happy birthday, mommy. And stuff. And they're just in the dark room. And so, and like the main chick, she just kind of like crawls up to the cave. To the cake. And she just has a smile on her face because she's with her daughter and stuff. And then you hear like the skittering sounds of the creatures coming towards her.
Ew.
And that's the end. But in the theatrical version, they just cut out that last part and it just ends with her in the car going, ah. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
You're right. It only makes sense because it's not real. There have been no like actual supernatural things here. These creatures are just like theory they've just been living underground all this time, so they like, evolved to be like blind and stuff, and like
I like the
live down there.
farmer.
Kind of,
from Sky.
kind of. Honestly, yeah. It's actually a really interesting movie, though. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm not.
You're never gonna watch it,
No, I will not.
but it's good.
I'm not privy or savvy to most horror movies for good reason.
You're looking at Rosemary's Baby.
I have
That's a
seen
movie.
Rosemary's Baby.
That's a
Have
good
you?
movie.
Mhm.
It is a good movie.
The original, right?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a remake.
There is.
We've gone over this.
Yeah, we have talked about it.
Starred Zoe
Zoe
Saldana.
Saldana. We talked about it.
We did.
I have
This is why you should
no
re-listen to the
recollection.
podcast.
No recollection of talking about this. Yeah, but I mean, that is one of those movies that's like throughout the course is very unsettling, and you're not sure why. But Roman Polanski's ability to just like capture that unsettling nature throughout the film is so good.
Yep. So many movies that are like really high quality horror films. They do that. It's all about just never making you comfortable.
Yeah.
And like there's basically the theory that like, you know, I feel like with so many modern horror movies and stuff, they just don't care about building that mood. It's more just about like, and now we're building to another scare, and now we're building to another scare, and now we're building to another scare, and now we're just in the part where the monster's around. Wait, we still have to make it scary when the monster's around, but the monster's here. It's scary, right? No, it's not. At all. And that's not saying that you can't have like your antagonist like featured front and center and it, you know, and it's not scary anymore.
Yeah.
You just scroll past The Exorcist. Perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she is front and center in that whole film. But like, it's just so unsettling because it's the best horror films are psychological. Doesn't mean that there's nothing going on that's like a physical threat to people. There still should be. But like, none of it really matters unless it gets in your head.
Mm-hmm.
And like it really gets deep. Or it hits a primal fear. It's kind of part of the reason that like, of like modern horror movies, it's not like high art, but like Lights Out is pretty good.
Ooh, yes. That is one of my favorite horror movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I have that whole poster of it.
I know you do. I thought it was just like one of those modern, like not teen horror ones, but like, yeah, you know what I mean?
I can see why.
it looks like it would be that
does.
almost, but it manages to elevate itself with like some actually pretty good character work and actually pretty good scares.
And
It helps that the characters in it are actually fucking smart.
Yeah, they don't really make dumb decisions. They're pretty.
Like,
it's
again,
great. You need to watch this.
I think you actually would enjoy this.
Yeah.
But like legitimately, I think I've said it before, but like I think the moment when I truly realized how much smarter this movie is than most movies was when the boyfriend turns on the car's lights to save him. Like you see, okay, so like you meet our cast of characters, and one of the dude is like the boyfriend of the main character, and you're like, he's fucking doomed.
Yeah, there's no way.
That is the most that is the most dispensable guy on the list.
Yeah.
And this guy manages to impress, like honestly, through most of this film, like borderline MVP.
Yeah, he's actually so usually the dispensable character you kind of don't care that much. You're like, he's there, he's cool. But this guy, he built himself to be a really great character and someone you care about because he's just always there. He's like, okay, I'll help you. I'm your boyfriend. Yep. I'm a great guy. And he just keeps coming. He could have totally ditched out.
There was multiple moments in the movie.
So he's a dependable, great guy that doesn't end up being a bad guy?
Correct.
In a horror movie?
Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he has multiple moments where he can dip. And like, no one would ever have known, really.
Yeah.
But like, he keeps throwing himself back into danger. And he just keeps being just smart enough to make it out alive.
Yep.
And it's so impressive.
Yep.
Like, just made me love that guy so much.
And they have really lovable characters, too.
Lights Out.
That's great.
Like, if you skipped it, don't. Like, it's got good scares. It's got a really good premise. Again, it builds on the fear of the dark. Yep. Everyone in some way is scared of the dark.
Yeah.
That is a primal fear, like deep in your animal brain.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what's there, and so it is deadly.
Yep. So another movie that plays on the your fear of the dark, which is also one of my favorite horror movies, is Don't Breathe.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Okay.
It's so good.
That has to be like my top 5 favorite horror movies. Especially because I have always had really bad eyesight. And so this talks about a blind guy, but the characters are blind basically in one of the scenes of this of the movie. And it just made me feel like I was, because I've always feared going blind.
Yeah.
And there's a whole section where they have to be as quiet as possible, but they can't see crap. It just...
It's like, I mean, do you remember the premise of this movie, Chase?
I have no idea.
Did you
Okay.
watch Don't Breathe?
No.
Clearly not.
I mean, these both came out while I was at the theater,
Yes,
and I remember, them
I
coming out. I remember thinking that both of them were crap.
Incorrect. They're both quite good. But yeah, no,
Don't-
Don't Breathe, whole premise. Like, what definitely plays with things is like, so you have your core cast of 3 main characters who are thieves trying to rob from this old dude.
2 of them you end up really caring
Yeah,
about.
2 of them are likable.
Yeah.
One is not.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, but yeah, so 2 of them are pretty dang likable. One is not, but basically the whole thing is they find out like this older guy, like he lives in like this middle of fucking nowhere, like this whole abandoned part of I think Detroit.
I think so.
And so like he has like no neighbors near him and stuff. He's just kind of shacked up in this house alone. He's blind, and he basically got a lot of money from a lawsuit because like some young girl like accidentally like ran over his daughter
Yeah.
and killed her.
And she was a rich girl. That's,
Yeah. And so he like basically like sues her, gets all this money.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, he's loaded. He
Yeah.
clearly hasn't spent it on anything. He lives in the fucking shithole.
Yeah.
And so they're like, well, let's break in and steal all this money, like so we can like move to California, start a new life, blah blah blah.
California, overpriced everything. Your money won't.
I don't know why California's where
Go
Move to
fucking Utah.
Like, yeah, exactly. He's like, just keep it going.
go almost anywhere else.
Yep. Except for like New York.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that's their whole plan. And they break in, and like this guy, he's like a war vet
Yeah.
and like incredibly like well trained,
Oh, no.
but he's blind. And so the whole thing is like they try and get into the money, things go a little wrong, and they are trying to get out, and he finds them and he hears them. He kills the douchey guy
Okay.
because he has a gun.
Yeah.
But he can't see, but like the guy just kills him. And basically now it just becomes like a cat and mouse game where like they're locked in the house. He's
Yeah.
locked it. And they can't unlock it without making so much noise that he'll know they're there. And it's like literally this cat and mouse game where they just have to be impossibly quiet to try and sneak around and find another way out of this house or find some way to get away while he is hunting them.
Yeah.
And it is so compelling. But yeah, when they go down to the basement and they find some shit and
Oh my gosh.
oh, the shit they find.
So I was scared at first, but that I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's a psycho. This could really happen.
Yes.
Yeah. So movies that are not necessarily supernaturally geared are really the ones that get me. Because this technically, yeah, this could happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen to me because I'm not going to break into someone's freaking house. Like,
or run over someone's daughter. But
Yeah. that's,
yeah. But oh man, some of the shit that but there is that classic scene in the bottom where he realizes they're down there and he turns off all the lights.
yeah.
Oh.
And now he
Yeah.
is in the advantage.
Yeah.
It is
That's
it is
not at
so
all what I
fucking-
thought that movie
That
was
one,
about.
No, yeah, dude, it's awesome.
yeah, and this movie uses jump scares really well because that basement scene has this one jump scare.
Mhm.
And I guess it's not technically a jump scare. But it kind of is because all of a sudden he's there and you don't because you can't they're being really quiet and that scene is pretty quiet until they make noise.
That whole movie just makes you never want to make noise.
Yeah.
You are holding your breath with the characters.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of
Quiet Place?
yeah, A Quiet Place where it's so quiet and I didn't realize that quiet really gets me. Like sound I'm fine with. Jump scares with sound I'm like kind of okay with, but silence freaks me out cuz I'm like, "Oh shoot, where are they? What are they doing?" This guy is freaking silent as heck too. He's just it's a great movie that
It
you
is.
need to watch.
2016 actually had some pretty good horror
Yeah,
movies.
It did.
I
'cause
think
I remember
those
there
two
being a
came out
lot.
the same year, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I think The Autopsy of Jane Doe came out that year.
Yeah, I did.
It did?
Mm.
Mhm. That was a good movie. Like, not great, but good.
Blair Witch.
The Blair Witch remake came out in 2016?
Yeah, I did.
That wasn't bad.
I didn't watch that.
The ending of that movie's great.
I can't do found footage.
I have no problem with found footage.
Conjuring 2.
Conjuring 2 was pretty good. Yeah, it's actually a pretty good year for horror.
Mhm.
Probably the last good year for horror. Split, I guess,
Probably.
technically.
Split was a good movie.
Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. You're just gonna react that way.
Okay, I love that movie. I know it's a trash movie, but like
It's not good. I read the book. The
I
book's fun
love-
as hell.
I love the book too. I read the book before watching the movie, and I was still okay with the movie. It was great. But you know what movie messed me up as a child? There
No.
is one that messed me up
Oh, here we
What
go.
is it?
and started me on my horror journey. Scream. The
Ah.
first Scream.
Okay.
I think I was about 4 when I saw
That makes sense for you.
Yeah. When I was about 4, I think, is when I accidentally walked into my parents watching Scream. And I walked in as he was being creepy on the phone and he killed Drew Barrymore.
Right at the start.
No,
Nice.
Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, because my parents told me, you're not allowed to come in here. My mom told me this. My dad was like, she'll be fine. But my mom's like, don't watch. You can't come in and watch. Go watch your own cartoons. And I was like, forget that. I don't want to see. So I sneak into the back room. I'm like behind them. They didn't know I was there. And they could not figure out why I was so freaked out by the Scream costume because I couldn't even see that costume that year.
Ghostface.
Yeah, I could not do the ghost face costume. And that costume was like at the height, I think, of its popularity at the time.
Oh, yeah.
But
Makes
yeah,
sense.
walked in on him just murdering Drew Barrymore. And for a good 3 years after that, could not handle that costume during Halloween. But I was tired of being scared when I was little. So whenever my dad would watch Tales of the Crypt, I would walk in and he's like, are you sure you want to watch this? I'm like, yep, let's do this. I was like trying to train myself.
And it worked.
Yeah, it worked. But a little too
Immersion
well.
therapy.
A little too well because it's really hard for me to get scared during scary stuff now. But hey,
She seems disappointed.
yeah, well, because half of the fun is
Is
feeling.
being scared?
None of the fun.
Yeah,
Nope.
All of the fun of watching horror movies
Nope.
is being scared.
Nope.
Just because you don't find it fun doesn't mean
Nuh-uh.
that's not where the fun is found.
Nuh-uh. Nope.
That's where the fun is located, Chase, even if you don't find fun there.
No.
yeah. So as I've gotten older, horror comedy has become my favorite genre. I mean, just because at least I get something from it.
Yeah, you get the comedy.
Yeah.
You don't have to be scared to enjoy it.
Yep, that's why I love it, the first one, so much.
Mhm.
The second one's pretty good too. But yeah.
Yep.
I think that it depends because there are definitely horror comedies that you would not care about.
Well, I'm sure.
It depends on the comedy.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
I think you're more of the horror comedy than the comedy horror.
Wait, what?
I'm confused too.
Movies that are more reliant on horror but have comedic elements rather than comedies that have horror elements or that play on like satirical movies.
Fair enough.
I think I'd need examples.
Scary movie.
Those are okay. I don't like
They're
dumb comedy.
They're like they're parodies. Because exactly that's
It's
the
not
type,
the
the type
same
of comedy.
though, because they are okay.
But I mean,
I
here's
guess.
here's your argument. You're saying that those are like comedic movies that have like a horror element.
Hmm.
So is Zombieland.
Yeah, I love Zombieland.
That is very, very much more a comedy more than it's a horror film.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You're right.
love Zombieland.
It's really just about, how it's pulled off. Crazy.
There's
Um,
also Rapture Palooza, which has like a horror element to it.
I've never heard of this.
I don't know what you're
Really,
talking
it's
about.
with Anna Kendrick. It's like the end of the world, and
Rapture.
it's a lot of it's a lot.
Okay.
That's fine. We can move on then. All right, we've talked a lot about movies.
Shows.
Let's talk about some TV
Games?
shows, and then we'll
Okay.
get to like games, and then we'll talk
I
about.
did
some books that
mention
scared me.
one. Tales of the Crypt.
Tales-
Tales from the Crypt.
Tales
I
from
said
the
it wrong.
Crypt.
Hmm.
The Crypt Keeper.
Yes.
Yep. How iconic.
That's what
Chase has no idea.
I have no
Yeah.
idea.
It's okay.
It was a horror anthology show.
Makes sense.
You just had like this creepy skeleton dude, the Crypt Keeper, who would like narrate and lead you into stories.
Makes sense.
There were a lot of horror anthology shows. Honestly, especially
still
back then.
are.
Yeah.
Yes, but especially back then, that's the majority of horror shows were very much anthology based.
Because
Or, like-
Twilight Zone, Outer Limits.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one that I can't think of off the top of my head. Yeah, there's a lot.
Which show?
What?
Oh, you're the one that introduced.
Well, I just thought I just said we were going to transition. Okay, like the obvious one I'm going to talk about is like my favorite from recent memory is The Haunting of Hill House.
Yep.
It's so damn good, and it's damn spooky. They just got all the ghostums. They got hidden ghostums.
Oh.
Most of the time you miss the ghostums, but sometimes you don't.
Then you go back and watch it, and they're there.
Even when you know where you're looking, they can be hard to find sometimes.
Oh.
Just like little faces just in the background
Oh,
in the
Jesus
darkness.
Christ. Okay.
Like, oh man, it took me, I think I didn't see my first one until like episode 6. But I'm like, what the fuck? And then like somebody was like, yeah, there are ghosts all over the background of these things. They're like little things like statues and stuff that like when the camera will pan away and when it pans back, they're facing like a different direction.
Okay.
It's like little things that are like hard to notice and unsettling, but like when you notice, you can't miss them. That story, I mean, it's just a well-acted show. It's incredibly like unsettling in a lot of ways. It definitely has jump scares and shit, and some of them are really annoying. Most of the time, it's mostly just about just horrific shit happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just going like, well, you're going to deal with this now. But I really like the ending of that show. I think it works well. And I'm curious about the second season because now they're just adapting a whole new classic horror story. So
That's cool.
yeah. So I guess that's what it's going to be. It's basically like similar to like American Horror Story or something like that, where it's going to be like similar cast every season, but they're going to be
cool.
like adapting old like horror stories.
Oh, that's cool.
So like obviously the first season was like Haunting of Hill House. I think this one is like The Haunting of Bly Manor, and I think it's Turning of the Screw, like Turning of the Screw or something like that. I'm blanking on the title, but it's like a classic horror story that I have not read. I haven't read that one. So I have no idea what I'm getting into with this next season, which is kind of fun.
I'm kind of disappointed in myself because I have a hard time sticking with TV shows.
Mhm.
So most of my scary TV show like library of what I've seen is really old. And
Okay.
so it's either like Twilight Zone. Oh, I figured out the other one, Night Gallery was what I was thinking.
That's
yeah.
that's what my mom was.
That's
yeah.
the one your mom
with the
was.
dolls.
Yeah. So it's like really old or really stupid because the other ones that I've seen are like Scream Queens and Scream. Well, I was attracted to Scream Queens because it was supposed to be a comedy. So I was like, yeah, I don't have to commit to this. The ones that I feel like I don't have to commit to are the ones that I stick with because the main like horror type show I was into for so long was Supernatural.
Yep.
And it just keeps going.
It's,
I mean, it's
15 seasons,
yeah.
the last one.
Yeah, and I need to go back. But American Horror Story, Asylum.
I was gonna bring up American Horror Story.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Murder House.
Oh, Murder House?
Yeah, the first season.
Yep.
I think the first season is definitely the scariest in my opinion. You said Asylum. I think that it is scary, but I don't think it beats Murder House.
I think I think the difference between Murder House and Asylum, because Asylum's the second season, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Asylum is too unfocused. Like they went in way too many different directions with that one. Whereas like a Murder House had, like a lot of things going on, but they always felt tied in very centrally to like the same like general importance other than like the fucking Antichrist plotline that comes. But like, the rest of that's like, we got these ghosts, we got this shit that happened in the past, and like it's still affecting people today. But like Asylum, you got a serial killer, you got fucking aliens, you got
well, at the end.
It's just like, well, I mean, it's
it
just keeps there's so much shit going on.
Yeah. I feel like definitely from what the seasons that I've seen of American Horror Story, which are probably about like 5 of them, I would say 1 and 2 are really the horror focused ones. Anything after that is less so scary.
It's in a horror like place, but not focused on the horror.
Yeah, I stopped watching partway through Coven because
I like Coven for what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
which is not scary.
Coven I think is my favorite, but that's because I like witches.
Yeah,
what a shock.
Yeah,
I think my biggest problem with Coven was when just everybody kept coming back from the coming back from the dead. I felt like the stakes were just dropped dramatically.
Yeah, especially with the end because I was like, oh, we're gonna ignore you exist.
Yeah,
it's like I feel like the beginning.
Yeah.
But I don't think I actually saw all the episodes of Murder House.
Murder House ends
So-
great.
I saw the ending. I think I missed a few in the middle.
Like the whole lead up. I mean, there were some fun reveals in that, like nonstop.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, that was a fun one. I really enjoyed the first season of American Horror Story. Any other horror shows anybody wants to talk about? I mean, I guess we have to touch on The Walking Dead.
Okay. It's not
Okay.
even. I mean, like, similarly, I think earlier seasons were more, because they're more focused on the. I don't know,
Like
because
the-
I feel like later seasons have more focused on
The
the
humans?
community.
Mm.
Yeah, but really, the first seasons are focused on that really like gritty survival, where a lot of people are dying.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's scary.
I was never that into The Walking Dead. I think because when it came out, I was already over zombies. Zombies were never like a big thing to me, other than Zombieland because comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like the very first zombie movie was Night of the Living Dead.
Mhm.
Like that one was really cool, but I don't know. I'm not that into zombies.
I used to watch that show with my dad.
Mm.
It was good bonding times.
The Walking Dead.
But yeah, no, I haven't watched it in years.
Mhm.
Any other shows anybody wants to touch on?
I did love Bates Motel.
Never really saw it.
Bates Motel was pretty cool.
I also know a lot of people really liked Hannibal,
Oh,
which I heard was great, but I
heard
never
about
really
it.
watched. And then quick touch on Stranger Things.
Right.
Really enjoy Stranger
Yeah.
Things.
I forget Stranger Things. I guess is like horror,
It's not really
but it's
scary,
not-
but it's definitely of a horror flavor.
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, I mean I enjoy that show. Scary video games.
Probably the scariest things.
My favorite type
'Cause
of
you have to-
video game.
You have to deal with it yourself.
Exactly. It's the interactive portion of video games make it so much worse. So okay, my number one number one horror video game, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Not lying. Well, I mean,
Believe you.
no. Okay, it's not actually the fact that it's a scary game. It's just
Not.
the fact that when I played through it, getting caught by the prefects being out of bed in the castle at night was fucking terrifying.
What?
I don't. I like. It, I don't
I
know
was
if it was like
expecting
the,
spiders.
no, not. I don't think I got that far in the
I
beginning.
get it.
But I think it was just like
Oh,
the
really?
audio cues or like something about getting like in trouble, getting caught. Oh god, that's fucking scared me. And like going through the tapestries into like hidden rooms and like just like stuff.
was
I don't remember
scary?
if anything jumped out at you or anything,
Oh.
but like I don't know what it was about going through tapestries and shit. Yeah, but I just remember going through the castle at night. It was fucking scary.
Is this the console version or
Yeah.
the handheld? Oh, okay.
PS2.
Okay, never mind. I played
I'm
the
pretty sure
Game
it's the same
Boy.
game.
Oh,
But
okay.
yes.
Okay.
I had to do that. My cultural touchstone.
I got okay. Here's the closest thing I can have to a game that is not a horror game but scared the shit out of me. Piggybacking off your story, was oh god, what is it called? Star Wars: Shadows of the Empire on the N64.
Okay.
There is a level towards the end of that game where you are in a sewer system where you have to go like underwater and like fight all like these monsters and shit. When I was young, I'm like, nah, nope, this has been a fun game. I'm not going under that like green, terrifying looking water,
Oh.
fighting all these like terrifying tentacle-y
Oh.
like water monsters.
Yeah.
And eventually, like my friend and I, we would like pass the controller back and forth, like, I can't do it. And we eventually we got to the boss, which is a gigantic tentacle-y monster in the water. We're like, nope, we're done, and we never beat that level. Never.
That's hilarious.
It was spooky, man. Nuh-uh. Kyle does not like water levels in video games at all. That's-
They're never good.
Okay.
It's not just they're never good; they're scary. There's a reason I could never play Subnautica. You know what Subnautica is?
Yes, I know it's
No.
not a
Okay,
good.
I could never do that.
That's funny
like-
because I could.
Really?
Why?
They're like giant, terrifying fish that eat you and shit, man.
That's funny.
You
I
like
don't
go
know.
down into like a pitch darkness. And
That's
like,
funny. That's literally my fear. But
Yeah,
I don't know
that's why I don't.
Yeah, I could not. Just watching people play that game gave me like heart palpitations.
So with the horror games, I never really got the chance to play myself because they became, or I first knew about them once I no longer had a game console. So my experience with horror games is watching other people play.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned one of them.
Yeah, I'm going to say it again. Last week I mentioned Layers of Fear, my favorite horror game. I got to play a little bit, but I realized my way of playing scary games is I don't give a crap. I'm running through.
That is
will
one
not
way.
always work.
It worked out for me. I only really got to play a little bit, but still, Layers of Fear. Cool game, and yeah,
That's one way to describe it.
I think it's cool. It gets in your head, man, and then you start thinking you're crazy because then you have to think of all the possibilities. Like, is this guy crazy, or anyway, psychological horror.
It's the best kind of horror.
Yep.
So, a lot of my early days of battling horrific creatures in my childhood in video games came right in the middle of the great horror wars of the early aughts. A battle between two titans.
Yeah, I can tell with two titans.
Standing as polar opposites of how they decided to approach the horror genre. There was, of course, Resident Evil. Spooky, scary, but you got a lot of guns and rocket launchers and grenade launchers and flamethrowers and shit, and you're gonna kill those fucking zombies, goddammit. And you're gonna kill them all dead. And crazy shit's gonna come at you, and you better kill it. Then you got Silent Hill.
God. I feel like Silent Hill is way worse.
It is. Because it's like, you got a 2x4. You better beat the shit out of this hulking mass of flesh that's like walking after you, like,
oh God,
making the sounds of like a baby. You're just like, what the fuck is this? You're like, I don't know, but I'm gonna beat it to death with my stick.
It really is that psychological horror.
Silent Hill 2, talked about it a little bit. It is probably one of the scariest games I've ever played, but it is also a mastercraft in design, because the world of Silent Hill 2 is designed to torture the main character, James. And the deeper you go into the game and its monsters and its plot and its story and the characters that you run into, the more you understand all the metaphorical shit that all of it means. Every monster represents something about James or his history or like a facet of his character that he hates.
Oh.
All of the people you meet and your journeys parallel along the journey in Silent Hill 2 all have something to say, not like literally, but metaphorically, about a part of who James is or what he hates or like represent things that he is trying to run away from. Like the central conflict of that game at its core is it's an impossibility that he can't help but follow because he is so wrapped up in his grief and his pain that he needs to see it through to his end. He is following the trail of his dead wife. Like, he knows she's dead, but she sent him a letter. Mm-hmm. And she says she's going to be there. Mm-hmm. And he can't not go. And just the descent of madness and the truth as you peel back more and more layers of what is going on in that game. It's just always more horrifying shit. And it's good. It's really good, and you always feel weak. You always want to try and run past the monsters because you never have enough ammo. Your weapons are always breaking. You know you need to hold on to whatever you have whenever a really fucking like terrifying boss monster is going to show up, so you can try and beat that. Which means you are just trying to skirt past these creatures as they grab you, as they bite you, as they throw up on you, as they like do all this shit. And you're just like, I just got to get through. I just got to get through. And the farther you go down this journey and the more like the city warps and changes around you, the more you understand that like, that's exactly what James is fighting. That's exactly what James is going through. It's damn good. It's a masterclass in game design, and it's really scary. And then, you have a radio that makes a really scary noise every time monsters around. That's just spooky.
I have experience with both of those things. I actually found Resident Evil more scary, but that's because I'm dumb when it comes to having to take action. And I'm like, oh shoot, it's going to kill me. I have all the things I need to destroy it. I'm just dumb. Oh shoot, I just got eaten. I'm dead. Yep. Silent Hill, on the other hand. you have less to work with. And I'm like, it's not my
You
fault.
should run past monsters and try and barrel to the end.
Yep.
It's exactly your playstyle.
Exactly. I'm just sad I didn't get to really play Silent Hill because it wasn't my game.
That seems to be a common.
I know. Everyone around me had video games and things, and I did it.
Well, I mean, a game that I didn't play because fuck that, I'm not going to play. I've seen it played. Dead Space.
Oh, Dead Space is so good.
God.
Dead Space 2 is also really good. It's a bit more actiony, but it's still good. Dead Space 3 is garbage.
Just something about the darkness in that game and like those fucking creatures. And like you're just alone.
And worse than that, you're armed with a bunch of shit that probably are not meant to be weapons.
Yeah.
And you are just like, you have literally a plasma cutter that's supposed to be a tool for like using, like doing repairs, because you're an engineer. And you just use that to try and just like decapitate limbs off of the creature so you can get away from them and like all this shit. You have like a rivet gun. It's like,
I don't know what it is about this setting that like sets. Well, I know what it is about the setting that sets it apart from like Silent Hill, Resident Evil. It's in fucking space. But I mean, something about the cold vacuum of space, being alone with these fucking monsters. Oh.
The first game is really good. The second game is also really good. And there's a moment in the second game where you're taken back to the ship from the first game. And you're like, oh, this is nostalgia. Also, fuck!
Oh, actually, also about space. A game that I have played a little bit of because fuck, I can't go through it. Alien Isolation.
I have Alien Isolation. I've yet to play it.
I have it. And I played a little bit of it, and then I was like, the most I played of it is, I don't know what mode it is, but it's basically like you're trying to escape as fast as possible.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think I've played that.
You have. Yeah. Basically, yeah, you're trying to escape the ship as fast as possible. And oh my god, please do not turn on the microphone for the fucking xenomorph to hear you. But then like I played most of that, and that in and of itself is scary. But then like the story mode, I went through some of the Nostromo story mode, and I was like, I can't handle the spookums.
But yeah, there is just something about horror video games. They are just, it very much is the immersion factor, the fact that like you have to handle this problem or you die.
Yeah, and it doesn't progress if you don't
exactly
do anything.
Like there's nothing you can do if you don't keep pushing forward.
Yeah, it's like movies you can just have them play, maybe like turn away, shield yourself from it. But like with video games, you need to progress to do anything, to get the story, to do whatever. And it's even worse in VR. Oh, I forgot we played.
Bad.
Oh my god, I forgot that we played VR horror games.
Yeah, that was not pleasant.
Oh my god, I totally blocked that from my mind.
I understand why. I gotta tell you, man,
Really?
playing like Five Nights at Freddy VR was not fun.
Ooh, what did we play? That one game.
Did you play the Exorcist game?
Exorcist?
No,
game?
We the one horror game that we really played was the Paranormal Activity.
Paranormal
game.
Activity.
Oh.
That was really good. I did enjoy that.
It
It was way more of a game than I was expecting it to be.
There was definitely a point where I was on the floor looking at a picture that the fucking picture in the game freaked me out, but I could not like. I thought something was gonna come out of the picture from whatever reason, so I kept like I couldn't like look at it, but then I kept like trying to look at it, but I couldn't. I was basically just stuck. I couldn't do anything because I was just like petrified in fear. But yeah, something about that like even being more immersed in that and not being, because you can close your eyes, yeah, sure, but not being able to like look away. Oh Jesus Christ!
Yep.
Protect me.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah.
Just press a button, go to Jesus mode. He just takes control. Gets you through the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most annoying thing about that game though was just trying to figure out where to find all those fucking items.
Yeah.
But like on the whole, it was a good experience. It was like it was like a couple hours long.
Mm-hmm.
Which is longer than I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for like a movie tie-in game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck that. I just want to do some Beat Saber.
Yeah.
Also, one of the scariest VR experiences I've had. It wasn't where we played it. Minecraft VR.
Really? Like skeletons and zombies?
Creepers.
Oh, the creepers.
Do you know creepers are bigger than you?
Yeah, I've heard. That seems terrifying.
You know what's a really scary feeling? Hearing a creeper turn around, there it is.
Oh my god.
I'm like, no, Ooh, no. Also, that one made me kind of motion sick. I don't know why.
How do we mention horror video games without mentioning the staple of Slender?
Oh,
The 8 pages.
because that's a bad game.
It's a good game. It was such a YouTube wave. Oh my god. Yeah, Slender. I remember I played Slender. That scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, it was pretty spooky.
Yeah. The suspense.
Yeah, I wasn't part of that.
I will say, you want to know why it's a terrible game?
Why?
How do you guarantee that you win, Chase?
You get all 8 pages?
No, but like, how do you guarantee you can pull that off without getting caught?
Can you?
No. I mean, you can pull it off without getting caught, but there's no way to reliably do it. It's luck based.
I see.
It's really just you just wander around. There are set places where those pictures, where the pages might be.
Yeah.
You just have to get lucky.
Oh, I see.
That's terrible game design.
Yeah.
It does though make people keep playing it.
Yeah. The replayability. Because you will always lose.
Yeah. And then they made like a full video game out of that.
That's right. I remember.
I never played it.
I saw gameplay of it. There's also Blair Witch.
Yeah, we played Blair Witch.
We played Blair Witch.
It wasn't scary.
It was scary.
I mean, Chase is now forever haunted by windows.
I think that's the thing. Is my window fear actually stems from the witch in my window when I was a kid.
Now it all makes sense.
Yeah, which I realized after the fact.
There are moments of that game that were spooky, but honestly, all in all, wasn't that bad.
Suspenseful.
The house stuff got me just because I didn't want to get caught. But like I never actually was killed by any of the regular monsters in that game.
Yeah.
Nope.
Did you ever die?
Yes.
Yeah. The
things in the grass.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's what killed me.
I think that was more of slightly like, is this gonna kill me?
Yes, was the answer.
Yeah.
I think that was the only time I died.
I think so. Because that was a little too easy.
I remember when I was editing it, I was like, "Oh, this he never dies."
Yeah, there's like a really the first time those things like under the leaves or whatever came, I didn't notice it in time, and then it caught me and it killed me right before I got to the safe spot.
You kept getting hit, but you didn't know you were getting hit, and it's like, what's happening?
Yeah, and then I was just dead.
Yeah.
And then when I was fighting the regular monsters, I would get hit a few times, but it never really led to anything. Oh, I saw during all those games, Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem on the GameCube. What a game! That game didn't give a shit about scaring your characters. It just gave a shit about fucking with you in the most fun ways. You feel like it keeps looking like you're about to say something, Chase.
Yeah, because I totally forgot. I didn't want to cut you off from your thing.
What's up?
PT.
Yeah, PT's great.
I count that as a game.
It is.
Yeah.
Because it's nothing else.
Holy shit. That might be the most terrifying thing I've played. Just because I'm a baby. And
yeah, you're a baby.
I mean, there's a lot of things that are scared of me, but something about that game.
Just hit you?
Yeah.
Like that moment where Lisa shows up behind you.
Oh, don't say her name. Do not speak her name.
Lisa. But yeah, Eternal Darkness is fun because your character has a sanity meter. And once that starts going low, the game just starts fucking with you.
Like amnesia?
No. Nothing like that.
Okay.
So what happens when your sanity meter goes low in Amnesia, Chase?
You start freaking out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, in a game, your character just starts having problems. In Eternal Darkness, when your sanity starts running low, sometimes you just enter a door and now you're on the ceiling.
What?
Sometimes your character's head will just start spinning around on your shoulders. Sometimes you'll pause your inventory and all your items will be gone. Sometimes your TV will just turn off. Except it doesn't actually. It just seems like it did. Sometimes you'll try and save your game and it'll be like, you want to delete your save? Deleting.
Oh, no.
And you're just like, what the fuck, you game? And there's like 27 of these things that it does to fuck with you. So there are enough that it paces out through the game. So you're like, what is going on? What is going on? Or you'll just enter a room and there'll just be zombies all around you and they'll just beat you to death. And then you just wake back up and you walk back into the room. You're like, what the shit? And you're just like, what is going on?
That sounds great.
It is great. That's such a good game. And they're just like, fuck you.
Nobody has to get a GameCube.
I mean, you can just get a Wii.
Oh. I have a Wii U.
I have a Wii. Hooked up to my TV right now.
That's right.
Yeah, no, that's a blast. That's a blast. Other horror themed games. I don't really know if I consider Alan Wake a horror game, but I really liked that game.
Mm-hmm.
It was an Xbox 360 game, I think. Where it's very like story-ish. It felt like you're watching like 6 episodes of a TV show essentially. It's kind of paced that way. Where it's like it'll like end and there'll be like a small like credit scene and then it'll be like a previously on Alan Wake. I'm like, I just played it, I know. But like you play as like this writer who like is going to this cabin to try and like get through some writer's block and stuff. And it just shit goes nuts. But like you're just haunted by like all these crazy ass things and like but like the monsters you fight, you have to use light essentially because they're protected by this darkness, and so you have your flashlight which you like weaponize to like destroy the light before you can like actually shoot them with your gun and shit. It's kind of fun. It's a good game. It's really interesting. It's made by Remedy, the same people who went on to make like Quantum Break and then Control most recently. Oh, and now let's talk about really quick. Anybody read any books that used to scare them when they were a kid?
I didn't read. No, I did, but
Chase
scary stories to tell in the dark.
There we go. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I remember one of the scariest experiences I ever had with a book was Salem's Lot by Stephen King.
Okay.
My mom had a very similar experience with this book, so it's kind of weird, but like I definitely remember this. So I read when I was in middle school, I got like obsessed with Stephen King. And I read like all of his books I get my hands on. That's when I read like The Stand.
In middle school?
Yeah.
Okay.
I read like The Stand. I read Salem's Lot. I read Pet Cemetery. I read so many fucking Stephen King books. I read like as many of the Dark Tower books as were out at the time. But Salem's Lot is I think the only time I've ever read a book that just scared the fuck out of me. There are multiple moments in that book that did so, but there was a moment where they are descending down a staircase and something is coming out. No, they're ascending a staircase. Shit, I don't remember. It's been a long time, but they're basically on the staircase and like the vampires are coming and there is something there in the darkness waiting for them. And it's just written so fucking suspensefully as just like you're feeling like you can just feel every creak of the stairs as they're like trying to get out of this place. And it's just, it's you know how doomed they are. And it's just page after page, just like building this tension. Like it's just wringing it out. And I just remember, I'm like, I gotta put this down. I gotta read this another time. I've never experienced that with a book before. And I've never experienced it since. But it's just like this perfect building of tension where like I am gripped on every single word because like, what the fuck is going to happen next?
Yeah.
That was back when Stephen King was like crazy good at his craft. And now he just turns out like 7 books a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And occasionally some are good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I've had that with a book. By the time I started reading scary stories, other than the kids one, I was already pretty desensitized. So I haven't really felt that with a book, I think.
I don't believe that.
Or at least one that I can remember.
And then the one last thing I think I want to touch on, just kind of talking about like childhood-based things, is the classic 1-2 punch of Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, actually, no, yeah, the Goosebumps books, those kind of scared me.
I didn't read the Goosebumps books. I watched the show.
I loved Goosebumps when I was a kid. Like, it was just that perfect level of scary for me when I was younger, where it was like, oh, this kind of spooks me, but not too much. I'm fine.
No spooky. It's like, what was it? They're like, tell me a scary story, but not too scary. Oh, was that Deadly Premonition? Like the, yeah. Oh.
Not too scary. No, that was what, Click Clack the Rattle Bag. But, and then the Goosebumps TV show was on for a while, and that was like, I guess, scary for kids, but it's really bad. But then around the same time, there was Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Right.
Which was just a better version of that. It was actually kind of spooky. It was still pretty cheesy in that 90s sort of way. And it was similar in idea as like an anthology horror series. but it was just a little bit scarier. And some of those episodes are like actually legitimately kind of haunting. And I think it's just gotten like a reboot. Like it's either just about to start or it already started or whatever. But like I just really remember enjoying Are You Afraid of the Dark when I was younger.
Is that the one where they're like around a campfire?
Yeah, it's like the Midnight Society,
Uh-huh.
where like the whole thing was like they would all come with like these horror stories that were supposedly true that they would like share in a circle. And like sometimes they would have like new storytellers coming in with like, and they had to like tell a really scary story to impress the group. Every once in a while there'd be a kid who'd come in and he would like tell a story and it's like one of the fucking scariest episodes and like it wasn't good enough. I'm like, you guys writers have weird interpretations of that because like historically, like I think one of the scariest episodes in the show, I can't remember which one, ended up being it was like a tryout that the girl failed and people were like, what the fuck? Like, you have a very different idea of what was going to scare the American populace. Well, I guess it was a Canadian show.
It is Canadian.
Yeah, it's Canadian.
About the North American populace.
The Midnight Society sounds fucking weird. Like it sounds scary itself, like spooky.
Yeah.
For a fucking.
Yeah, and they would like throw like the little thing and make the fire like.
Totally forgot about that show.
The Midnight Society, the tale of the
Nickelodeon.
Yeah, no, dude, I loved that show when I was a kid.
Never watched it.
There's this one episode with like a vampire, I think, that like scared the shit out of me when I was younger.
You know what? I think that's where I originally got my fear of vampires. And then I watched Buffy and I was like, hey, they're lovable.
Vampires done right can be really fucking scary. Ryan Gosling was on Are You
Yes, he was.
A lot of
yeah.
like people who are big now were on these really kind of
Well, I assume that was mostly all like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. Has any of your families told scary stories?
Not really. My mom hates horror with a passion. Like probably more than Chase. I'm not kidding. Like things are like scary adjacent. She's like, no. The fact that she listened to my story I wrote was shocking. She was even then. She's like, Kyle, I only did it because I love you a lot. I'm like, you didn't need to do it, Mom, but I appreciate it. She's like, it's fine. I shared it to other people too. I'm like, thanks, Mom. She's like, it was good. It was well written. Could you just write something not scary? I'll read that. I'll listen to that. I'm like, I love you, Mom.
Yeah. So when I was younger, I used to look out. So my house used to be structured very differently. Not that anyone listening can knows what my house looks like. Yeah. I hope.
Dun, dun, dun. I'm listening.
Okay. Anyway, we used to have a deck in the backyard, and I used to look out my bedroom window and swear I saw someone pacing back there.
Oh, yeah.
And my backyard light has a motion sensor. And it always would go off. But nothing was there, but I would see this pacing, and it still just randomly goes off sometimes. It's not windy. You look out there, there's not anything out there that you can see. But
so a strong emphasis on that you can see.
Yeah. Anyway, so when I was younger, I used to share a room with my nanay, grandmother, and I once told her about the figure I would see, and she in turn told me a scary story about a man she used to live near when she was in the Philippines. So, yes, Chase?
What the fuck? I'm already... It's an Asian horror story? Oh, no, thank you.
It's actually not scary, but as a child, it kind of scared me. So
it's definitely going to scare Chase right now.
I mean, it's okay. Anyway, so when my nana lived in the Philippines, she's from a very, very rural area of the Philippines, and my family still lives in that general province. There was this house that was the oldest in the town, and for years they tried to tear it down, but there was always something that went wrong. And eventually someone bought the house, lived in the house, and experienced people who also lived in the house. But they weren't actually there. They were ghosts. Nothing bad ever happened, but there was someone definitely there. Doors would open and shut candles would burn out. They didn't have electricity in
Mm.
this part of the Philippines. So light came from candles and flashlights, mostly candles. Candles would blow out. They'd relight in the middle of the night. Windows would open and slam shut. The house would rattle. Doors would open and shut. And at the same time, every night, the shower, it's not really a shower. It was where a shower would typically be. Usually you would have a giant tub and buckets of water that you would splash over yourself to take a bath or a shower. You would always hear water being splashed in that section. And my nana said that the man who lived there every night would yell out, "Are you done taking a bath?" And someone would always respond, "Not yet, give me 10 more minutes."
The fuck?
Yeah. It was a loop that constantly happened. If the man who lived there did not comply with this, weird stuff would start to happen. The house would start getting flooded for no reason at all. His things would go missing and turn up in the backyard, and all kinds of random things would happen. Once that man moved out, they once again tried to get rid of this house. One of the ways they tried was just destroying the foundation, and they just could not. Something always happened. And from what she knows, this house is still there today.
I don't like this.
Yeah, me neither.
Yep. She told me that when I was 6 years old. And that story has stuck with me to this day.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, I have another one, actually. It's about my uncle. You've never met him, Chase. So my uncle, who lives in South Carolina, is a lot like me. He's into witchcraft and the occult. And he did major research into this and symbols and runes and all kinds of witchy things.
I think he's a warlock.
Oh, dang, I wish. Anyway, he was trying to write a book about the occult and witchcraft. And he was getting in pretty deep in this book. And
Till they came knocking on his door.
Okay, you're not wrong.
What the fuck?
That's a little weird. Anyway, he was so he's married, but his wife, I guess, was out of town for the weekend or something when he was writing. He doesn't like to be bothered while he's doing stuff. It's kind of funny. Anyway, so he said he heard a banging on his door. So he went to go check. It was not that late at night, but it was late enough where it was dark. He went to go check. No one was there. He went back inside, wrote a little more, was feeling a little antsy. He was like, but he thought he's writing a creepy book. He's writing about occult stuff, and yeah. So when he goes to bed that night, he keeps hearing the same knocking at the door. And he doesn't get up to check. He's like, "I'm not stupid. I'm getting my gun." He's an army vet. He's like, "I got this." He tries to go to sleep and can't go to sleep. And I don't remember the details. I think my dad watered it down for me when he told me it. But basically, he thought he was fighting a monster in his house and had a handprint burned into his back eventually. And the symbol, so he had this very specific symbol he wanted to be on the cover of the book. And somehow it was burned into onto his chest, and then he threw that book out and got rid of all his research. I believe he burned it and doesn't talk about that stuff anymore. Yep. And so started my fascination with witchcraft and the occult. Yep. Leaving it there.
So my mom was driving once, and she was in I think the New England area, and she was with one of her friends, Cassie, And it was the middle of the night. And as they're driving down the road, they noticed, like my mom noticed as she was driving, that there was like a family walking on the side of the road in the middle of the night. Like mom, dad, 2 kids. Dressed up like Quakers.
Oh, fuck, no.
Mhm. I had a feeling.
No.
Yep.
And they were just walking down the road. And my mom just kept going.
Yeah.
And she looked over, and Cassie looks over. She's like, "You saw that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I saw that." And they're like, "Okay." So my mom still stands to this day like, "Those were ghosts." I'm like, "They might have just been weird people."
They could have been actual Quakers.
But yeah,
The likelihood, probably not. But
and then in one time, okay,
At band camp.
flutes and stuff.
Yeah.
So here's the. I mean, I guarantee this is just a dream. But I haven't really had a lot of scary stuff happen in my life, okay? So this is what I got. I got 2 scary stories, kind of. One about my dad, one about me. So my dad used to suffer from night terrors.
Ooh.
And one night, and this is really going to hit you, Chase. So one night, he's laying in bed, and you know, like the way night terrors work, I don't know how much you guys know about them, is basically you're still asleep, but some parts of your brain are still awake. That's why you can't move. And that's also why you're just experiencing weird ass fucking shit, because you're still technically dreaming. It's just certain parts of your brain don't realize it. And so my dad is lying in bed and he's paralyzed. He can't move. And he sees that his door to his bedroom open. He's like, I think he's like 10 at this point. Sees the door to his bedroom open and like an older woman, like, yeah, I know, walk into the room and like sit down at the edge of his bed. And he says, like, he's like, even then I can like remember like my bed kind of depressing a little bit and stuff. And then like she just like reached out and she was just like gently like, but like he said, like it was scary as shit, but he's like, but it wasn't in like a threatening way. It was just like
That's even worse.
in like a comforting sort of a way.
I don't like that.
And like my dad just kind of like just took this to like he didn't say anything about it for a while because he was experiencing weird ass shit all the time because of his night terrors. But then like one day my grandmother, his mom, was apparently going through a bunch of like old photographs and stuff and like going through a bunch of like family pictures. And he looks at one picture and on that picture was the woman. And these books that they were up in storage, he never would have seen it, but it was like supposedly like his like great grandmother who he had never met. And he never would have seen a picture of and stuff. But it was like the spitting image of the person who sat down to the side of his bed.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I like it. That's a good story.
Oh,
Yep. And that messed with him.
that messed with
That
me.
would.
And then for me, I remember I was just laying in my bed one night. And occasionally I would, because like I like to listen, I like to have my TV on when I was going to bed, so I'd always like program like the sleep timer on it. Like I always used to like having something to like listen to. And like every once in a while, really like it would just like whatever channel I was watching would just turn into static in the middle of the night.
Oh.
That would just happen. Like that. Well, this I know is true.
Yeah. Okay.
But one night I remember waking up and there was the static noise coming from my TV, and there was just like a silhouette of like a person standing between me and the TV.
Oh, hell no. Oh, that actually reminds me of something. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I remember being so fucking scared at this, like, but I couldn't make any details that looked like it was facing like away from me, like at the TV. And so I just like pulled myself up under the covers and like, I guess fell back asleep or slash I was never awake to begin with. But the fact remains, like, that's probably the scariest memory I have.
Yeah. Okay. Something similar had happened to me when I was with my dad at one of his apartments. He's moved around an amount, good amount. But I was probably like, I want to say less than 10, but it might have been around 10. I was probably less than 10, because for some reason I was sleeping with him in his bed, Shut the fuck up. So we were sleeping in his bed, and it was really dark. To a point where like I don't think my eyes really adjusted well to the dark, because it was like that level of dark where there wasn't really any light for your eyes to adjust to, or at a certain point.
Yeah.
And I could have sworn like it was really late at night. I don't know if I had just woken up from being asleep or something, but like in the darkness, I could see this figure, like a man. But it was like almost like, you know, with how when your TV has like the white noise and the static, it was like that, but it was like wasn't that bright. It was more like brownish, that kind of texture of like silhouetting a man, and I was just like walking around the bed. And I was freaked the fuck out. And I don't know if I felt like I called him the Sandman, because it resembled sand. But that, like, I swear, like I saw him like walking around the bed. I never said anything about it.
This is the part in the scary movie, Chase, where you like bring this up to your family members, and then you hear like an ancient story from like your grandmother, who's the only one who remembers about like a curse placed on your family. Because like your great grandfather once like crossed a gypsy woman or something. I don't know. And he's cursed with like the sands of time will haunt your family. It's like, and so now family members are haunted at night by the Sandman.
I think that was the only instance where something like that happened. But I mean, like, I've had sleep paralysis after that, and I don't know if that might have been my earliest instance of sleep paralysis where I didn't understand.
That sounds like a sleep paralysis sort of situation.
Yeah. But I've definitely had multiple sleep paralysis occurrences. Yeah, since then. But one last thing. This actually happened a couple months ago. And I mean, a lot of people say that like their movie theater is haunted.
Oh my
goodness. And that's
come on, man.
Oh my gosh, things have happened to me in this at the theater I worked at.
There's no such thing as ghosts.
But this happened to me for sure. Like, freaked me the fuck out.
It was sleep paralysis, Chase. Your job is so boring, you fell asleep.
Oh. I just realized what you're talking about, I think.
I don't know if I told you this. But
this happened yesterday.
Yeah, so a few months ago. So basically, as a manager at the theater I work at, it's my job to, at the end of the night, make sure there's no one in the building, like no guests left in the building, and make sure the doors are locked and everything. And most of the time, my supervisors will stay till the end of the night if we're done early. But this was one night where my supervisor and I were making sure all the exit doors were closed. This is like by the front entrance, like the entrance doors and exit doors. Go up to them, like pull them, make sure they're closed. And she walks away, like in front of me. And I'm like checking on this door right by where the ticket taker is. And I hear from behind me, "Excuse me," like in a woman's voice, clear as day. Just like, "Excuse me." I assumed it was one of the janitors, because the janitors come really late at night, maybe like 2, 3. I don't know. It was like around that time, a little earlier in the morning. So I just assumed it was one of the janitors asking me for something. I turn around and there's no one there. And immediately I was like, "Oh, fuck no, we're leaving." I was like, "We are out," because I heard clear as day someone say, "Excuse me." There are TVs in the lobby that play like sounds and stuff. They were not on. There was no one in the building, no sound. I was like perturbed, and I asked my supervisor, "Hey, did you hear that?" Because she was pretty far away, and she's like, "No." I was like, "Oh, okay." Actually, did you say something? She's like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, we're leaving. We're gone." And especially when I'm leaving the theater at night after closing, going through like certain
There's the post-credit scene of a film.
no certain exit doors in theaters will exit out into the outside world. And so we'll exit that way sometimes to leave the theater. But some of those hallways are like long and dark. And there have been multiple occasions where like right after leaving the door, like I've heard like shuffling behind me when I was the last person out of the door. I'm like, and there's no one in the building. I'm like, no. And I've told this to one of my supervisors before, and she's like, but she heard it too. She's like, no, we're walking, keep walking. And it only happens when we close, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only story I have about your building is that I'm dumb. And so I, had an interview with your boss not too long ago.
Yeah.
And then you have to take the elevator to get back down to...
Oh, yeah. I can see where you're going with this.
I didn't realize I had to press 2 and not 1.
Yes.
I'm like, huh? And so, like, I'm like, is there at least a way out of here? Like, down here? And so I was, like, looking around the door shut. I'm like, screw this. I'm just going to go back up. I clearly have to press 2. But somebody took the elevator. And I'm just, like, standing here.
Yeah, in the basement.
In the basement.
That he thought was the first floor. Or technically it is the first floor.
Yeah.
But the first floor of the
way
building
out.
is the second floor. Yeah.
And I'm just, like, I'm looking around. And I'm like... And I'm not scared. But I am imagining, like, if somebody comes down here in this elevator... this doesn't look great.
It's happened to me multiple times where I've come in through that basement and people get freaked out because they think that they're going to the second floor and they go down to the first floor and they're like, what's happening? And they open the door and I'm right there. And especially after I got my haircut and they didn't recognize me, they're like, oh! Yeah.
I've had experiences at theaters. I've had gigantic doors rattle next to me. I look on the other side, no one's freaking there. I've had doors slam on me when I was by myself in a house.
That's wind.
And yeah, I'm sure it's wind.
Wind in an indoor building.
Yeah.
With no windows.
I'd like to think it's wind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That one wasn't fun. And there was this one time where me and this other guy were cleaning a house and we both swear we saw a little girl giggling run past us from the entrance to the exit in clothing from the wrong time period. We both saw this. We turned to each other and I was like, did you just see that? And he was like, yeah. I was like, are you done cleaning down there? He was like, uh-huh. I was like, we're out.
I guess all the ghosts don't want to bother me because I don't believe in them.
That also happened in the same house that I heard door rattling and the door that slammed on me.
Which number is this?
House 13.
Somehow I knew it would be house 13.
I knew it was house 13 as well.
Yep.
That's the furthest one from in that building.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The door slamming, I swore it was the soup who was there. And I was like, hey, can you do this one thing? And he was like, give me a sec. I'm trying to put a movie on. And I was like, oh.
Uh-oh.
And I thought he was lying to cover himself. But no, there was really a house that was down. And I was like, there was no one else who could have been here. Shoot. And I walked away and yeah.
Movie theaters are haunted, man.
That's what they all say. Also, regular theaters are haunted. Also.
Yeah. Well, my the excuse me was obviously from a dead guest that was trying to just get help going to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like, hey, excuse me, can you take my ticket? And I was like, oh fuck, we're out. And they're like, come on,
you just want to
get
watch
my
the
ticket,
movie!
asshole.
Yeah, no. Weirdest thing that ever happened to me. Footsteps with no one there.
Yeah.
Didn't really bother me. I'm pretty sure I just heard something. But like I was young. I was in a house I used to live in when I was younger. And there's like a hallway that you have to go down, and like at the end of the hallway there's my parents' room on the left and my room on the right. And I was home alone, but my parents were supposed to get home soon.
Are you Macaulay Culkin?
And I had my door shut. I always had my door shut. And I was just like playing games, and I could just hear like walking down the hallway. Not that fast, obviously, but just like,
Yeah.
sounded like somebody just walking down the hallway with stuff. And I'm like, hey, you guys are home? No response. I'm like, what the fuck? And I opened the door. There's nobody there. Kind of wandered away. Nobody was there. Parents didn't get home for like another 5 or 6 minutes.
Oh.
Didn't bother me. I just heard something. It wasn't real.
Uh-huh.
That's it. Like, I'm serious.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, there you go. Horror-themed episode of the ZymCast.
Thank you for listening, and hopefully you are perturbed.
Yeah, it's another slightly longer episode here.
I love you all, and I hope you all don't die.
I love you all too.
Have a spooky time on Halloween.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do, which is, trick-or-treating.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.